Dear Lex, I hope this letter and the reflection it is impendent upon serves you well. If you really think about it, the only way to correctly commemorate the closing of this intellectual, artistic, and spiritual task of graduating is to partake in the process which began this entire journey 7 years ago, letter writing. It was those nights you spent not physically alone, but isolated spiritually, alone in your college dorm at 3 a.m., clutching your face in computer keys, violently crying, wondering if you even meant or amounted to anything. It was during those nights within which you established everything, through dissolving everything. You wrote to 4 versions of yourself: the diluted current, the romantic past, the hopeless future, and the foundation of yourself in metamorphosis. It was a beautiful experience within which you needed no muse or tension other than the truth of a doubtful nucleus, ironically doubtful, as it knew it needed to grow while knowing all the while it was attempting to do so in the completely wrong environment. With this, I hope you found your stasis within yourself. It's so ironic as I sit here writing to you, to us. I remember how you used to say in high school that going through each subsequent year was akin to experiencing a new pregnancy. But I remember even then, questioning the product, the delivery. I almost mourned for screaming, or even stillborn babies. Anything that would finally know that shouting out into the void meant or produced anything. Crippling chrysanthemum in the darling sun. I feel the salt crystals on my tongue. Blood in the back of my throat goes numb. Thoughts drum. Nightmarish dreams in the mind become poems while the metropolis New York City of the Duncan line flashes before my eyes. I wonder whether to pity myself or to cry, but the petals, alas, of the flower crumble. Images of my mother and father rumble, tumble, and fumble over themselves as I begin to wonder who I am. Do I travel through the crucible or through the tunnel as I wander, become humble? Time is both critical and crucial as I struggle to find the notes to show struggle to uncover who I am beneath the petals. The songs of ancestors hum home within my roots, under soil and overthinking's toils. Hibiscus hums poems down my vertebrae. Hymns of hummingbirds lull my anatomy into disarray as blood coagulates holes into the back of my knees, throat, stomach. I choke up intuition and premonition along with the vision. Lotus flowers and lily pads, colorless yet green, glean greater consciousness and blessed privilege to emancipate the oppressed narrative. I cross the intersections and wonder if people watch people working out in the gym and make a big conjecture of the juxtaposition of us poorly watching wealthy people stay wealthy and enslave us with the idea of emancipation, potential exaltation in this capitalist prison. Meanwhile, we are all just scratching our way up the tunnel, vision begging for any scraps of burnt, strange fruits as we wonder, have the audacity to conjecture whether or not we have been chosen, or we have chosen. Blood coagulates and condenses like water on windows. Windshield wipers shift away tears and streams as blood becomes jealous of water's ability to cry, mourn. Thoughts like these always come in mourning as blood breathes underwater and onto itself. Storks, marigolds, and magpies adorn waters with lotuses and lily pads as I wonder what bird it was I saw as a confirmation of my realness, experience, and validity during yet another harrowing identity crisis. Congested intersections of people consume elevators as we wonder what New York City looked like in December. subconsciously shuffling near and over each other without so much as a stray cough or lost broken whisper. We've lost the keys to the locks of voices, connectivity, organic humanity, but we craft a lofty vision for the future of empathy, hope, communicability, equity. Maybe the byline hides behind eyelids, or the shadows water casts onto itself in blistering twilight. As far as what I hope for me and for us is concerned, I hope you develop the strength to plant your roots in an environment meant for you. Make your flight as crooked as your plight. Fly, paper pony, touch all my homies. Do not wait until they are ideas. Stop waiting to write and then become ashamed when it is an explosion of words. Of course it is. People can only respect your voice when you're choking down the agita, anxiety, and Anglo-idiosyncratic animosities. These swallowed compressions of suppressions only buy you visibility as 3/5 of a human. When we choke up, you chalk and charter down the blood, sweat, and tears required to survive the years and receive from you a backhanded and lackluster congratulations. I'm getting tired of congratulations. They're starting to sound more like proclamations. I'm getting tired of congratulations. They sound more and more like guesstimations. As far as people are concerned, do not bend or cater. There's a moment when one accrues a wound before it starts to bleed. One tends to assess the wound and pre-predict the damage, all the while denying they are in pain. You accrued a deep wound 7 years ago. Every time it started to heal, you picked at the scabs, creating scar tissue on top of the wound. You never let it bleed. Just face the fact that you are wounded. Let it bleed. Smear the blood on the paper. Lex, 12/18/2022. I put community in a centrifuge. Into my deluge I wasn't deluded. Divided we stand, a democratic nation of bigots inflicting intellects with imposter and perfectionism complexes to pick up the slack. What the fuck kind of whack shit is that? Picture the irony of this. How a cry and a laugh can sound identical. I wonder which forages forward, secure, and which runs backward, an imposter, to commemorate and celebrate. It's a perfect coming of age, a Bildungsroman, I guess would be aptly pretentiously appropriate for me to say, declare, decree with utmost reverie. It's like when sky cries over sun on a perfect day in May, and you wonder whether God or some higher joke writer has a tempered, ironic, cryptic sense of humor. What kind of cynic would obstruct the most beautiful day with specks of oblong, faded, translucent gray, abstract, nondescript, yet perfectly present structures and window shields, just so, conscious yet ignorant, cognizant yet dismissive of blessed frustrations, existential of the privilege to be visible, behold, oxymoronic, clouded, crystalline, sight, refract, sunlight lattices blighted between eyes and drive. What muse is this, being callously cranially confined? Choice and control comprise crass acrylic glass, precarious planes of pressure, press, panicked paint? What muse is this, basking in the guise of claimed physical space, autonomous while collectively curated into conformity, cancerous cells identified in constrictive communities? If I had to pick, I'd be royal blue, and not for its suppressive undertones, but for its implicit, obscure, and ostracized, culturally convoluted and nearly obliterated royal ones. Much like our ancient Egyptian ancestors, blue for the blood which was and is monopolized and commodified, blue before reddened by inclusive, unchanging skies. Dropped object vessel from the bottle, weird and globular and grotesque as you are, what peruse is this through memories of marred words from mothers, half-spoken and stuttered as she whispered she understood what broken marriage vows were. Dropped knowledge from the ancestral jar, you sympathize as you reclaim vows to your highest self. In the unturned books of both personal libraries and the ghosts of unspoken conversation poems, you find your truth and her treble dog-eared in pages you have yet to write and uncover. Dropped stork from the crying laughing sky, you forget the notes of your skin's sheet music. Do not defer or belabor the dream or your presence. You can strum guitars ahead into conscious lucidity. Sit down at the piano of your words, clutch clarinet, effusively expound, marvel in jazz's subconscious tenor. Loyalty and commitment make self-love a cuckold as you suspend identity and inner tenacity to seek to hold the shallow of a lover in vitro. Abandon that umbilical cord and discover your throat. Dropped psalm from the ancestral Bible, play violin. Do not lose your voice in elevator music. It's a wonder who can find refreshing that chord, the stale helium ignorance of the intergeneration. After all, you know what they say, all black boys look blue in the moonlight. It is up to us to maintain ourselves as boisterous and keep our dreams at forefronts of tongues, not hidden in prisons, mental or within industrial complexities, deferred in matrices. How is it that a modern car speeding down the highway at over 80 miles per hour is eerily so reminiscent of never-before-heard horses, trotting feet on concrete, a chariot blazoning victory?